Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And today I welcome a special guest, another one out of the West Coast. We got Chris from his band, Becoming Awk. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, my man.
That's good to hear. And first off, have you been okay? Because I know California's unfortunately been in the news for all the wrong reasons, but I guess where are you hailing from?
I'm from Portland, Oregon. So we had a big ass protest in the city as well yesterday, and it was all nice and peaceful and nothing too violent out there. So all good.
Actually, no, the reason I brought that up too was a friend of mine in Utah. He was walking around Salt Lake City, and unfortunately, someone had opened fire on him there too. So,
oh shit.
Yeah. So, just want to make sure everyone's safe out there too. So,
yeah, yep, all safe and sound here.
That's good to hear. So I apologize. I thought you were a California boy at first there too. So,
adjacent, but yeah,
close enough.
Yeah.
So, all right, but nonetheless, how you been recently? What's new?
Good. New. So new thing, podcast. This is my first podcast ever, so that's pretty cool. I've just been, ever since the release of Afterlife, I've been slowly working on things. I recently got a merch store together and been pushing that as of this week. I've been hanging a lot out on Discord, a specific Discord server for the Brutality podcast. That's a weekly podcast that I watch all the time. I'm like a member on there and stuff like that. Really cool guys, and talk about like the old school like MySpace deathcore days, like 07, 08, 09, that golden era that I love and stuff like that. And with all that, with being involved with talking about the MySpace stuff, I have now officially started the follow-up to Afterlife, like writing, and it's going to be different. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's definitely going to be a little different from what I've done so far. Yeah,
that's good to hear. And are you only on Bandcamp right now? Because I was trying to find you on Spotify.
I am on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. I go through all the stuff through DistroKid and stuff to do all that.
I don't know. It was weird. It just wouldn't bring it up for some reason. I don't know. Did you release any material yet? Because I know you mentioned about Afterlife.
Yeah, Afterlife is on there. I've had everything from the Abolisher EP up until now on there. So there's a couple from the old record label that I was with, and then all my DIY stuff after. It's all up there.
I did some digging afterwards, but I did find you on Bandcamp. So
yeah, that's probably the easiest way.
I guess so. But you know what? I've been so used to just using Spotify, so I consider Bandcamp like a last resort sort of deal.
Yeah. It's got its niche for sure.
I guess. So, and actually, speaking of your merch store, that's actually, I found out about you on Facebook there.
So. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm pushing the merch store this week. I was like, I should probably put an ad for this. I want to get tank tops and shorts out there and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, like, you found me. I'm getting like, bots like trying to blow up your revenue with this and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, oh god, we're doing this shit again. But there's been a couple cool things coming through it, so it's all good.
Yeah, I would say it was killer music there too, so you would almost hope it'd be the legit people coming through, not the bots.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. You get to elaborate more on the music here just a little bit too, but first off, Chris, welcome to my podcast here, mate. And the way it's going to work is I just want to ask you some questions. I just want to get you to know you more both as the musician, but also as the individual as well here too. So I know it's your first podcast. You need to do some breathing techniques. Get in the zone.
I got my Coke here, so it's all good.
I wasn't sure it was about to be like the meditated sort of state right there.
No, namaste.
All right.
There we go. We're all awake now.
Yep. All right. But I guess to start back in the beginning when he was just a wee little lad. So what's your story? I guess how'd you become a musician?
Let's see. Growing up, born in 92. I grew up in the grunge era. My parents were both coming out of the glam rock era. One of my dad's favorite bands, like when I was growing up, was like Guns N' Roses, and he was starting to get into like the grunge stuff. My mom was too. My mom was coming out of like stuff like Alice Cooper and Ozzy Osbourne, that like all the pioneers, right? And then going into the grunge era, and then they had me, and I was like, I was just a toddler listening to Nirvana, Alice in Chains, all those bands. That was right off the bat embedded into me, basically. So like all the glam rock and the grunge and stuff all coming up like that. And then as I was in elementary school, I really did playing on the recorder and stuff and music class and stuff like that. Like I really did fondly enjoy that. And by like 6th grade, I wanted to be in the middle school band. I picked up and learned the trumpet. That was my first actual instrument that I actually wanted to learn. But I felt super demotivated. There was I knew that I was getting good. I was picking it up and I was doing great. And I remember there was 2 kids in that class that were also playing trumpet. One of them could literally not make it. He couldn't make the sound out of it. He didn't know how to properly play it, but he got moved to the advanced class so they could help him out with that. Meanwhile, I stayed behind and I was like, well, that fucking sucked. Why am I even trying? Why would I don't want to do this. So, my parents eventually split in the middle of 6th grade. And so we moved out to Tualatin, Oregon. And when I was getting enrolled into a new middle school, they asked me if I wanted to do band again. And I was like, nah, I'm going to skip it. I don't feel like it. So should have been the end of that for music for me. That could have been a totally different story. But, again, growing up, one hobby of mine, one of many nerdy hobbies that I do, is play video games. And I think an essential thing for my music taste is video game soundtracks, like the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtracks, Guitar Hero, stuff like that. And exactly.
Star power.
Yep. In fact, I still do to this day play Guitar Hero, Clone Hero. So yeah, that was shaping a lot of my taste in music. I was starting to get into rap and hip hop. The Eminem Show was a big album for me growing up and getting into middle school. Listening to a lot of punk rock. Again, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater stuff. I really liked Anti-Flag. I really liked Dead Kennedys. I was just really heavy into the skater culture and stuff. And then going into high school, I was starting to get that itch to want to play an instrument again. But I didn't know what I wanted to do necessarily. So I was just looking up to all these bands, and I thought that the bass guitar would be the way to go. And then I met one of my best friends today, and he was the one that really introduced me into the more extreme heavy metal stuff. I was he just I don't even know if you remember this or not, but back in the day, instead of an iPod, I had a Microsoft Zune, and so did he. And he's like, hey man, just let me borrow your Zune. I'll load it up with a bunch of artists and you can listen to all of them. I'm like, all right, cool. So he puts on Slipknot. He puts on System of a Down. I've heard the new metal stuff before, on the radio a little bit, but he gave me all their albums up until that point. I had the whole System of a Down discography. I had Slipknot up until All Hope Is Gone. I had Bullet for My Valentine, Trivium, Divine Heresy was one too. It was a shit ton of music. He just loaded it up and gave it to me, and I was like, I will be happy. So yeah, that was my first steps into that, and then going back into trying to get in that itch to play again. So I wanted a bass guitar for my birthday that year, and my grandmother went out and bought my first Squire P bass. So it was just this flat black cheap thing with a skull decal on the side, and then a little combo Fender amp, and that's how I started. And she also got me this little book on the basics and stuff like that, so I picked it up pretty quick and was jamming along. And then I next year, like, because I was feeling cocky, and I felt like I could move on up in the world, and I wanted a 5-string bass for like 10th grade, and my grandmother got it for me again. She pulled through and got me a Traben. What was it? A Traben. I have one too, and I don't even remember what it's called. But I got 3 Traben basses over there now. I'm still like with them basically. So she got me that, and I played the hell out of it until an ex-friend of mine. He's not an ex-friend because of this incident, but he dropped and broke the headstock on the 5-string bass. I was so pissed. I wanted. Yeah, exactly. So he dropped and broke it. So I saw the 4-string, being in high school, and you're learning to play an instrument, and you're like, I want to start a band. So I tried getting a band off the ground. I tried, different people, different friend groups. Like my friend that first got me into extreme metal, he wanted to be the vocalist. We got a guitarist. We could never find a comparable drummer. They're like a needle in a haystack over here. And just it was just trial and error over and over again. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, I want to contribute a little more to the band. Why don't I see if I can figure out a way to record us? And so I had like some random, I forgot what the brand was, Acer laptop, like just some basic ass business laptop. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. Now I can like have a laptop, bring it over to band practice, and we can kind of record ourselves pretty shittily, but like still kind of do it. And eventually, like none of the bands worked in high school, but I had another friend. He mainly played guitar, and I was still playing bass. I learned how to program drums in like a virtual instrument. I don't even remember. It was like some shitty freeware thing back in the day. But I was getting into the basics of recording and with him, and we were getting something drawn up. And unfortunately, like we used to be like within walking distance of each other. Neither of us drove at the time. But eventually he moved, and so I was by myself with some stuff written and like some sort of recording setup. And I felt more inspired to do like the solo thing, because I was looking up to projects like Disfiguring the Goddess, or at the time Andrew Baina's band Galactic Pegasus. When he started it, it was just like his own solo thing. Like I was looking at those two, and like you could really just record everything yourself, produce it all yourself, and just put it out there. And so that was like, I took those initial ideas with my friends, made some kind of rough demos, and that's basically how Becoming Awk became a thing. And it just, the humble beginnings of being in shitty high school bands and my friend breaking my bass and all that stuff has led up to this point. And that's kind of the origin story, I guess.
That's the exposition. We now just start right there too. So.
Yeah.
Also shittily. So which is a new word. So
it works.
I mean, hey, we're English too. We tend to make up words as we go along.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. It's just common. It's fine.
Well, then again, we also came with the word bigly.
That's true.
That's cool. But since you were really into grunge, and also your parents as well, did they try to recreate the Nirvana Nevermind sort of album cover?
Oh gosh, not to my knowledge. And if they did, it was when I couldn't even remember things anyway. So maybe there is a Nirvana Nevermind tribute of me somewhere.
Well, I think the reason I brought it up here too was I think the actual kid who was on that cover way back when he was just a tiny baby. Mm-hmm. I think he was suing at some point. So I didn't know like if I was still going.
Oh yeah, he tried to do Yeah, he was trying to sue them or the estate or something like that. Yeah, fucking stupid. Yes.
Like that guy, you don't want to be remembered as the kid who was naked and trying to chase after a dollar bill on an album cover.
I don't know. I'd rock that. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. That's just me, though.
Well, then again, they become a big sensation and a big hit afterwards. So
yeah, exactly. Like, why would you be mad about that?
I don't know. Well, then again, you don't want people seeing your little thingy hanging out.
Oh, it grows. Okay, it'll be fine.
I guess so. So
I would be fine with that. Just saying.
So you're a '90s kid as well. So I'm a '90s kid as well. So
Hell yeah.
So I was obviously we were more into the cartoons with our Hanna-Barbera that would come in, and then Cartoon Network when it was at least good. Seems like it's on a downward slope these days.
Yeah. So, unfortunately.
Tragically. So
yeah.
I guess were you also real big into the cartoon days, or do you keep yourself busy with sports and instruments?
Oh, I was definitely growing up watching cartoons. I was a big, I still am a Pokemon fan. I woke up every Saturday to that. Digimon was a big thing too. I was really into anime before it was like it blew up and became cool. Like I was watching Toonami every Saturday night. Like my favorites were like Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, like those ones. Like I just love those fucking shows that are still good. Super underrated nowadays. Everyone's into stuff like My Hero and other stuff like that. And I don't know. I can never grasp onto it. I think the last one I really watched was probably Attack on Titan. And yeah, it's been years since then. So, but yeah, definitely growing up as a kid, I was definitely Saturday morning cartoons all the time. Or I would be super annoying. And I'd wake up before my parents, and then I'd go and wake up my parents and ask them if it was okay for me to be up and watch TV and stuff like that. Like, yeah, go away, whatever, fuck off. So
I try to sleep. I still got 7 more hours before I wake up.
Exactly.
I never actually did that in terms of the Saturday morning cartoons, but I used to get up to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! It was like 7:30. It was 7:30 to 8, so I always got it in before elementary school.
Oh, very nice.
So I was able to get that in. But I was getting up at 7 too, which probably didn't make much sense because I was kind of resting on the couch a little bit. So, I don't know.
It works. It's fine. It makes sense to me. That's all that matters.
I guess so. But I never got into Cowboy Bebop. I felt bad about that because I did watch Yu Yu Hakusho and Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, reboots. I don't know if you remember that one at all. Toonami.
I think so. Yeah.
It was a constantly repeat. So yeah.
Yeah. So. Most definitely.
So, but I guess were you real big into Egyptian mythology? Is that how you came up with your band name?
Yes. So going back to school, another one of my favorite classes was always like history class, like, and not just strictly like the Egyptian stuff, but like I was into like, we're talking about like the samurai, and we're talking about like just the development of Western civilization in general, and like just all those broad scopes, of course. But like, yeah, Egyptian mythology, like you could relate it to like Greek mythology and stuff in some ways, and more people seem to gravitate towards that. But I just thought like Egyptian mythology was like way more cool. It was underrated in my mind, and I just really dig the story of all the different gods and just all these different like the crazy amount of like legends, tales, folklore, and stuff like that. I thought they were just all super interesting to me and stuff. And so, yeah, the name came about. I was trying to figure out like a cool name for an Egyptian death metal band, and like Nile's taken already, so fuck, that sucks. So I was digging into some Egyptian mythology and folklore and stuff like that, and I came across at one point in their religion, they believed in the Akh, which is part of the human soul. The human soul is like split into 7 parts, and what the Akh is like it's basically your soul after it leaves your body after you die, and it's a part of your soul that influences like the universe of both the people that you love and care about and look after, but also it twists it for your, enemies and stuff like that. And at the time I was like, wait, you can be a ghost and like mess with people's lives? That is so fucking metal. Like, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna make a name out of it. So yeah, becoming Ock became from that. And and there's a couple of the earlier songs were like written about, like the Ock, and like I had the second EP, the one after the self-titled one, that was about the 7 parts of the human soul. And it's just like, it's a cool concept. Again, like a ghost that just messes with you from the afterlife. Like, I think it's just still cool, and it's so like on par with Egyptian mythology and stuff like that.
Actually, I think it's similar to how M. Night Shyamalan's movie go, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
The Sixth Sense, there we go. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
So, hey, I got an interesting movie idea. So, actually, I was going to ask, did you actually learn a little bit more with like Nile? I don't know if you got into like the death metal stuff like a little later in your life, and then Nile kind of gave you a little bit more history about this.
Yes. When I got my Zune loaded up, Nile was one of those discographies that I got at the time. And yeah, like I was like super into them because their sound and like what Carl was talking about in the lyrics and all that stuff. And I was just like, what was the one album that has I totally forgot what it's called, but it's the one with Hittite dung incantation on it.
Those who the gods detest.
Yes, that one. That album, when it was coming out, I had there was an issue of Guitar Messenger, and they were on the cover of it, and they had part of that song tabbed out in the magazine, and I learned like they were going over like their scales and stuff like that, and I was like, oh my god, Niall is just laying it out for me right now. This is how I get that Egyptian sound on my guitar and stuff like that. So that was like the roots of like my writing style, like where I wanted to be at. And then like when I went back and I was like listening to like System of a Down and stuff like that, like, they were doing the same shit. Darren was playing in that scale all the time. That's what chop suey is like just that scale, just up and down the fucking fretboard. And I was like, how did I not notice this before? Yeah. It's just like, yeah. So yeah, Niall, big fan, definitely. Carl is an amazing guitar player, front man. Even his like cool solo stuff, like his weird atmospheric ethnic albums, like those are super cool. It's a vibe. Like I love those albums.
Well, every now and then a bro needs a little bit of a rest from all the headbanging and loud music going in your ears.
Yeah.
So, that guy's 62 years old.
Yeah, wasn't his birthday pretty recent?
I think last week or 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 62,
birthday, Carl.
and he's still killing it. Yeah, happy birthday, Carl.
I was actually happy because I got to see him when they came to my town of Pittsburgh. And first off, I can claim I got a little fist bump from him too. So,
hell yeah.
So I wish I got a picture because I got a picture when Napalm Death came and I got a picture with me and Barney on it.
Oh, shit.
So I wish I had turned around just to get a selfie real quick. That would have been something. But you're all right, because I think for me it was more of In Their Darkened Shrines that kind of sold me on them, to be honest. And
yeah.
after that, it was kind of a cacophony of fastness and loud drumming and all sorts of things that kind of made it.
Yeah, so, definitely. It's just, yeah, there's still nothing like them for sure, at least in my opinion. Like I've seen a couple guys try to take their sound and run with it, but it's just not the same.
It's hard to replicate the gods in this case.
Exactly.
I always did feel kind of bad because it always seemed like they had to do lineup changes with the other two frontmen who were doing the other growls as well.
Yeah, they gotta switch it around all the time. Well, now they got like a totally dedicated like vocalist, I believe so, with the latest album.
Oh, his name was Brandon or something?
Something like that, yeah. I don't know. I didn't look too much into it. All I know is it sounded fucking awesome.
Actually, I would have told you the lineup they had on Inner Dark and Shrines was the peak moment there too. But
No, yeah.
as I say, it was Carl, and then in Dallas, who I also interviewed, and he's actually been killing
Yeah,
it
I
now.
saw part of that one actually before I came on here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
I was like, oh shit.
yeah, he's a cool guy. So he's still doing his things with Narcotic Wasteland. So then it was Chief Spires who's the bass player, and also I'd say technically a frontman because you always think in that 4-man set it kind of makes like a little bit of a diamond shaped, that sort of style. At least that's the way I kind of view it there too. But
I could see that.
and the guy's name was Tony. I don't know if you pronounce it Tony Sarino or something. Was the drummer at that time before George came on Annihilation of the Wicked.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
they've always had the drummers.
Yeah.
So I guess was there any bit more of history of becoming Oct? I guess just the band.
As far as since like it started, like I've put out 2 EPs, then a full length, and then after that was when I got signed with Transcending Records at the time. So I was working on and coming out with the Abolisher EP, and some startup record label was hitting me up and asking me, hey, I'm trying to start a record label. I know this sounds like a big risk, but I want you and this other band, Despondent, to be the first 2 releases under this label. And, you know, I'll split it 50-50 with you, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, I'm down. Like, I don't really care too much about the money, honestly. Like, I'm not in it for fucking making money. So me and the other band, Despondent, were like just kind of sitting and waiting for him to, get things started. He started setting up like a band camp, and having people pre-order. And I was like, spamming on all my socials. I was like, hey, my album is actually going to be on CD, and like, it would be super cool if you bought it. And a lot of people bought the CD along with Despondent. Unfortunately, that label turned out to be a scam, and the guy he went and ran off with all those people's money. Yeah, I felt so fucking bad. I'm like, this is partially my fault. This fucking sucks. I don't know what to do. So, and then the day after, everybody found out he ran off with the money, Mike Ramirez, he was the head of Transcending Records. He hits me up and he's like, hey man, I'm Mike, I run my own label over here, Transcending Records. It's mainly just been like, just a store basically. Like I buy like vinyl and CD in bulk and, sell it, that sort of thing. I just sell out of my shop. But I want to take the next step and I want to turn it into like a record label with like artists and stuff like that. And I heard about the falling out you had with that record label, and I already talked to Despondent, and they're on board. And I was wondering if you would be willing to take a chance on me instead, and maybe we could work something out and get this going. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'll do it. I was a little hesitant at first, but then I was just like, this guy seems actually like genuine and like, actually wants to help us and, like get everything squared away. And that worked out really well, actually. Mike was like the coolest boss I ever fucking had. Like, absolutely. He really was like really trying to go all the way for both me and Despondent and every other artist that we picked up along the way. I even got some friends of mine signed with him for a little bit. And he was just like, okay, like, do you have any like ideas for merch? And I'm like, I'm doing merch now. Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I could print t-shirts and shit. And I'm like, okay, let me see what I could do here. And then he's like, just got all this shit lined up for me. And then he's like telling me, okay, I got the CDs in. how many do you want and what's your address? And I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm going to let you sell them on your own too. So then you get the full profit and shit. And I'm going to send you a bunch of your own merch and stuff. And I'm like, holy shit. Okay. Yeah, he just took great care of us. Just was the coolest fucking dude ever. Unfortunately, his, like, I think it was like the warehouse that, like the record label was basically established at, it got flooded. All the inventory got destroyed. He ran out of money for the whole thing, which was super, like, again, Mike was the nicest dude, and he was just like, he was so passionate about running this label, and it's so bad that like he couldn't do it anymore. So he did the Abolisher EP with me, and then Absolute Truth, and then I was going to do the next album with him, but he said, like, I'm sorry, man, I can't do it. Like, I think this is going to be the end. So, unfortunately, like, again, can't say enough nice things about Mike. He was the coolest dude, and it sucks that I had to part ways with him. So I released the next album, DIY, but before, like, I left or got away from Transcending, Mike was like always super talkative, and he helped me out with like learning some of the ins and outs in the music industry, and like where I could go to like upload my music to Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that, what places do merch, how, like, a little bit of promoting and marketing stuff. And so I took what I learned from him and just kind of applied it to what I need to do. And yeah, like, you saw my ad for merch and just like printing my own CDs and getting my merch printed. And like, I was looking at getting vinyl done, and I was like, I could do this. Like, this is so weird. I'm doing this all myself. It's pretty crazy. So it just, and then also along the way, like, I wanted to like one up myself in terms of like the production on the albums too. Like with why do I not remember my own albums? This is so bad. This is just so, hold on, give me 1 sec.
You're supposed to study before you come in and take the test.
I was figuring I could just wing it and it'll be fine. Yes, okay. Apophis Solution. That was the album I did after Transcending. And I wanted to, I like had some cool ideas, but I wanted to do something more with the production. I wanted to add another layer to the sound. So get that album out, and then I'm just like working on like cleaning up the mix. I wanted to add ethnic instruments and stuff like that, give it that vibe. I wanted to take it in a little bit of a different direction, and or just at least like evolve it, flesh it out more like what I wanted it to sound like in my head. And yeah, and then since the Plague Sessions, I think that was the start, because that was the introduction of like the ethnic instruments and like just the heavier atmosphere, I guess, to the overall sound. And then more of that was fleshed out with Afterlife. And yeah, that's where I'm at now. But I'm always like, okay, it sounds great, but I can do better. I'm going to keep repeating that process every album cycle. It's like, I'm trying to not be a total perfectionist, but at the same time, I could do just a little bit more this time. I could just add this. It's always going to be like that, and I just learned to deal with it.
A little bit more noise gate. So, yeah.
Get it tighter. Yeah.
Something. I was just trying to think of like get tight or something like that. So
I mean, my noise gate's pretty tight right now, not going to lie.
I guess so, but I'm not too familiar with it. I just asked other people to help do the honor, and then I'll pay them whatever you want afterwards.
Yeah.
So you can see why. And to get on the hard topic of COVID first, did you officially form this band well before COVID, or was it during?
Definitely before. This was fresh out of high school for me. I'm class of 11, so yeah, that was straight, like, that was as soon as I got out of high school. It was literally the summer after senior year is when me and that friend started getting ideas down and self-recording and stuff like that.
So I guess just to jump into COVID then, I guess, how bad was it for you, family-wise? And then I don't know what you were doing music-wise, but feel free to share.
COVID, it's weird. I didn't really like have, it wasn't totally bad. Yeah, it kind of sucked. I had to shut myself in my house and I could only go to and from work, and like, I'm just bored out of my goddamn mind. And me and the wife are like just being stir crazy and stuff. There was a what is that damn restaurant? In-N-Out Burger. There was one that opened like 40 minutes from us, and it opened in the middle of the pandemic. And she's like, "We gotta go," and I'm like, "What?" And this is like 10 o'clock at night, and we have to drive like another 40 minutes. And she's like, "We got to go and check out In-N-Out. Like, we got to see what the hype is all about." Food is mid, just letting you know. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say food is mid. I'm not a fan of it at all. So yeah, COVID, everyone's shut in. I'm going to work and wearing a mask, and I didn't mind the mask thing too much. What annoyed me more about the mask thing was people complaining about it all the fucking time. Like, you're not to get too vulgar or anything, but you're basically admitting you can't have a woman sit on your face. That's what you're saying. So, just a weird flex, but okay. And yeah, and then as far as music goes, it actually really benefited me. Like, everybody in their mom's band is like saying, "Oh my God, we're locked in. We could write more music now. This is going to be great." I was one of those people, and that's how the Plague sessions came to be. Like, that was like, I could not only write just some songs, like I could hone my craft and the mixing side and add those ethnic instruments and like really just fine tune the sound a little bit more. And yeah, that really did change like how like mentally I prepare and write songs and stuff like that. So it gave me the time to really just hone and evolve my music. Like, it really worked out for me more than anything. But yeah, it went, and then I couldn't go to shows until like maybe a year after, it hit, which my first metal show, like after the pandemic first hit, was like, it was Fit for an Autopsy's like headlining tour for What the Future Holds. And that had like Enterprise Earth and Ingested, and oh my God, it was such a sick show. That was so fun. Yeah. And then I was hitting the ground running real hard with the shows like immediately after that. It was just like, "Oh, this show's coming up. I got to go. Oh, this show's coming up. I gotta go." A lot of good shit. But yeah, to sum it up, COVID, it wasn't all that bad, but it could have been a lot better.
That is true, but it's almost like I'm able to enjoy being in my house. I don't have to go too far. I still got a job. So it's like, what do you all complain about COVID for? I'm loving it here. So
Yeah.
then again, I'm an introvert too. So I guess, are you kind of a tweener between extrovert and introvert?
I think I was definitely an extrovert when I was younger, for sure. I was out partying all the fucking time and doing shenanigans with my friends and all sorts of shit. And now at 32, I hate society, and I don't want to interact with people unless it's like necessary. So like today, going to brunch with my dad, I was that was the only social thing that I was obligated to do, and now I'm done with it. I'm like, okay, now I'm inside for the rest of the day. This is all I got to do. I'm at peace. It's all good.
It's like, love you, Dad.
See you next time.
Yep. Actually, the way you're kind of making it sound like it's almost like you would be the hound whenever someone just wants to come up to you, and he'd just be like, "Cough." So,
go away.
You want to suck my dick or something? Or something like that. Actually, it's making a funny little comment too, because it was actually it's from one of the Game of Thrones episodes. I think it was like the Penultimate episode or something. The whole thing when they go north of the wall. So him and Tormund tend to hit the ground running with a little conversation, if we want to call it that. So That's what I said too. So nothing vulgar here, people. Or just say.
All right, cool.
Yeah. But I guess how your parents been? I know you said they split. I guess you still see them every now and again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I still have a great relationship with my parents. My mom is living up in Ridgefield, Washington, so she's like another 40, 50 minutes from me, so not too far. And then my dad is living in Troutdale, which is like on the other side of Portland from where we're at. My dad my dad is a very like stern, law abiding, like stick up his ass type of person, but he's like, when he can unwind, he is a good time for sure. And then my mom is the more like loose person. Like she's much more humorous, much more like outgoing, and she's currently right now trying to get like a bunch of farm animals together right now. She just recently got like a mini cow or something, like some breed of mini cow, and she's got like 2 mini donkeys and a horse. And I'm like, what are you doing? You got a ranch going or something? Like you're not even a redneck. You're just trying to be one. Like I don't understand. But that's her in a nutshell. She'll just do something spontaneous. So yeah, and yeah, like I said, my parents, they are children of the glam rock era, and my dad really is the one, I think, between the two of them who, well, they both supported me, of course, but like I think my dad was more hands-on. Like I remember when I got my first guitar, you would think like a kid playing his guitar in his room would eventually get loud and obnoxious, and I knew I was like, I'm going to piss my dad off at some point, like playing this, and he's going to get sick of it. But no, my dad, like he came into my room and he's like, and he gives me a shot glass, and I'm like, are we randomly drinking now? What's going on? He's like, no, you're use that to slide on the guitar. I'm like, what do you mean? Just put it on your finger and slide it on the neck. And I was like trying it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I never thought of that. He's like, yeah, that's an old school trick. And I'm like, well, that meant a lot to me. Like my dad was that supportive at the time. So yeah, very father-son moment right there.
That's for sure. And happy Father's Day to all fathers out there too. So
Happy Father's Day.
I guess, so how long you and your wife been married?
We've been married. This will be year 8. We've been together. This is our 10th anniversary of being together. Yeah. So yeah, we've been together for 10 years, and yeah, it's my wife is the absolute best. She was as soon as like I told her that I was coming onto this podcast, and like you gave me like a little brief of the questions, and she's like, okay, we got to rehearse, we got to like, we got to talk it over and practice and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't think it's that serious, but okay. But yeah, she's super supportive. She always, whenever she can, she like I wear my hat, like I have my own hat, like Becoming Hawk hat, but she is the one that like wears all the merch and stuff wherever she goes. And she's a social worker here in Portland, and she's always going out on crisis calls and stuff like that. So whenever she can, she'll wear like the t-shirt or the sweatshirt or something. And like, she's gotten a couple of questions like, oh, is that a metal band or something? She's like, yeah, it's my husband's band. You should check him out and stuff like that. I'm like, free promo. Hell yeah.
Store.
Exactly.
So, actually, she was always making it seem like you're coming on a news channel. So, be like, breaking news, Chris Ocht. So, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Oh, man. Wait, we got to be more serious now.
I got to take this seriously now.
Unfortunately. So,
yeah.
Before I jump into the next question, first off, congratulations on being married 10 years, or 8 years, and then 10 years being together. But
we'll call me. Yeah. Thank you.
Regardless. But first off, good to see you and the family are doing well there too. So despite the drama,
it's good drama. It's funny drama. It's fine.
That bit was funny.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, good to see you doing well there, mate. And good to have you along here for the ride.
Thanks for having me.
So I actually interviewed some people out of Oregon as well here too, kind of in around the whole Portland area since it seems to be the hot spot. So, but first off, a shout out to Gamma Knife. Strongly recommend you check them out. Those guys are pretty sick dudes as well. So When I had asked him this question about how the music scene has been, I guess from your perspective, how do you think the music scene's been from the shows and I guess anything else you've been doing in the music scene?
Like overall, I'm glad that metal is like each like as we get further and further, you know, along the timeline here, metal is becoming more popular. It's being more accepted, like even in like mainstream media stuff like that. Like you could, especially out here in Portland, you could probably find some normie dude walking down the street and like you would never guess it, but he's probably got something like entry level like Bad Omens or Bring Me the Horizon playing, and I think that's actually really cool. And like Sleep Token, like they're the biggest fucking metal band in the world right now, and that is so cool. Like that is I've been with them since day one, like listening to them and like seeing them be the band that they are now is like so mind-blowing, and I'm so for it. I want more people to, you know, listen to metal, get into the Octane Core stuff, of course start there. I don't want you to go fucking head first into like Gutrectomy or something like that, but yeah, I just it's so cool. And like I even like my friends, like some of my closest friends are like they're hitting me up for recommendations and stuff like that, or what do I think about this band or this band. And it's just it's just so cool. We're on the up and it's only going to get better from here. And yeah, I think yeah, it's just going so good for the most part. I mean, you get the occasional like deathcore moment allegation or some shit coming on, but I mean, you got to take a couple of the bad apples out, I guess. But yeah, it's just going to get better, and I'm all for it. I'm ready to see what the next thing is going to be. I want to know, like, just who's going to be the next big artist, who's going to be the next. Like, I recently got into. I'm super like late to this whole thing, but I got into Orbit Culture. I listened to their newest song, Death Above Life. That like gave them a fair shot finally. I was like, I've always heard the name, but I never got around to listening to them. Oh my fucking god, they've always sounded like that. Like, what the shit? Like, why have I been sleeping on that band? Like, I don't understand, but I love them. I put that new single on like repeat like last week, and I was just enjoying the hell out of it. And Buster's like production on that is so good. Like that was like the perfect combo. I'm just like, this band is the most epic fucking sounding thing ever. This is awesome. And like people have known this band. They've been around for like 10 plus years, and like I've been sleeping on them. I kind of feel bad for it, but I'm glad that I am now into them. And that's going to be, yeah, they're definitely going to be one of those big arena metal bands one day for sure. So maybe they'll be the next ones. They'll be the next Sleep Token. They'll be the next Bring Me the Horizon. We'll see. But I'm all for it.
We shall see. I will say, I was trying to remember all the songs, but I know the first one was While We Serve was one of the better hits they had that I've heard from them. And
that was like the next one I checked out, I think.
Well, I know the one they kept playing on the radio because I didn't know too many of their songs was Vultures of North.
Yeah.
So like you, I kind of slept on them too, so I felt bad. So, I feel bad for a lot of the metal I slept on, to be honest with you, but
yeah,
I mean, sometimes you got to do your own little digging in order to find the gold, you know?
Exactly.
So, all right. It's good to hear Portland's on the up and up, but I guess how bad was it rocked by COVID? I guess, was there a good amount of venues still up or shut down?
All the venues shut down. I was literally like a week before a show was supposed to happen. They canceled it, and the COVID shutdown happened. So all the venues were closed. Portland's, I don't want to talk bad about it because I love Portland. Like, the culture here is so cool. It's just a crazy melting pot, but it has its bad moments where it's like people will like go and vandalize and riot sometimes and that sort of thing. And that was exacerbated when the pandemic hit, for sure. Like, just ramped it up. Yeah, a lot of stuff got shut down. A lot of restaurants, businesses got shut down. A lot of like there's just nothing to do all of a sudden anymore. It's a busy city, and like when it comes to a grinding halt like that, it is quite the shock for sure. So yeah, it's but I'm so glad it's on the up and up now. It has gotten better over the past couple years, I would say. Despite being married to a social worker who answers crisis calls, and she tells me some crazy stories sometimes. We're recovering. Well, we have recovered, but we are getting better from, what we initially had with the pandemic, for sure.
I kind of relate to a social worker, tell some crazy stories, but it was actually there's a football coach I had. I don't know if you played any sports in your day, but I used to play football back then. Mm-hmm. And our one O-line coach and also our offensive coordinator, he worked in the prisons, so he dealt with some of the crazies that would come through there. One of which involved biting his own tongue and then spitting it at him.
Oh, shit. Jesus.
So, yeah, it's a fucked up world, as we would say.
Yeah. Oh, man. My dad recently became a prison guard, so I'll tell him to look out for that.
Hopefully not the crazy loony house, or the madhouse, we should call it. We should call it the madhouse. So,
yeah. We got our fair share of those.
I guess so. But stay safe out there. At least good to see Portland's on the up and up. So keep it going, people. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So I guess let's go ahead and jump to the gear you got there too, because we were seeing all your guitars back there, and you mentioned a couple earlier. So what you got?
Let's see here. Well, let's start with the one on the ground here. Hold on. Oh, this right here is my workhorse currently. Ibanez Iron Label Iceman. 7-string standard scale. I've always wanted one since I saw the Chop Suey video and Darren playing on it, and that was like one of his signature guitars. That was like the grail for me. And when Ibanez like relaunched the Iron Label brand and they showed this off, I was like, I gotta get one of those one day. I have to, absolutely. This one, well, it wasn't this one. So my wife and I, we went to her college graduation. She graduated from USC, so we went down to Los Angeles, and we went to Sam Ash. Like, they had a Sam Ash store there, and we walk in, we're looking at everything, and I'm just like, it's just like me being a kid in the candy store type thing. I'm looking around, I'm seeing what they got. They had some cool stuff, some amps and guitars that are pretty cool and stuff. But my wife looks up, like they have like, the high shelf rack pretty much. And this one, well, again, not this one, but an Ibanez Iceman was hanging off of that. And she's like, what is that? And she points at it, and I see it, and I'm just like, oh, and like, there it is right there. And I'm like, can I try that one, please? And I was ripping ripping that Iceman on like some orange rock reverb amp or something. It sounded like butter, and I was just like, okay, we're buying this. And I think something happened. I think I made a mistake, or my wife made a mistake when we were applying to, do a credit loan thing through Sam Ash, and they rejected us. And I was like, damn, that sucks. But later that night we went out to dinner, and I was just like, I wonder if there is one that I could maybe snag from like the used marketplace or something like that. And sure enough, Guitar Center had one, and they approved me right off the bat, and I got it like a couple days later, and I was just so over the moon. Again, workhorse. Like, this is like my favorite shape of guitar. Absolutely just stunning instrument. This is absolutely like just the best guitar that I played, and I'm so glad to have it in my collection. So yeah, it's this is the guitar that's going to be on the next record for sure, the next main record. So yeah, so there's that. I have again, the Traben basses. So I have a 4 and 2 5 strings. Traben, I believe they were a brand that was like an offshoot of what is it, Warlock, or not Warlock? I'm not going to remember. It's been so long. They've been discontinued for a while, but you can find used ones wherever you like if you look it up on any shopping site. But I like the Traben ones because I'd probably be better if I showed you. If I can reach over. Hold on. Okay, so these guys, they have like these crazy like tribal bridge things, and I've seen like, you know, they get called like the Guy Fieri of bass guitars and stuff like that. Like it's definitely, I get it, but the bridge is like, it affects the tone. It gets it like a little less muddy, a little more beefy kind of tone to it. Yeah, this one I need to adjust the truss rod on. It's been a minute. And like all their guitars are like that. So, and this is the 5. I had this model before. This is the 5-string that my grandmother got me when I wanted it. And like I sold it since. And yeah, like I use them for different tunings. I play the Iceman's currently in drop A tuning right now. And then I have, this guy is supposed to be in A as well. And then the 4-string is in drop C, and the other 5-string is also in drop C, but it's got an extra string, so then I can compensate for the 8-string that I got over there, which that'll be next. Holy shit, that was way more work than it should have been. This is my latest one that I got. So the 8-string that I used on Afterlife, I don't have it anymore. I recently sold it. But I got this guy instead, a Schecter PT8 Black Ops. It's a 25.5 on the high end, a 27-inch baritone scale, multi-scale. This is the first multi-scale guitar I've ever gotten. I've tried one like in the past, and I was like, it takes some getting used to, but I think I could do it. It's got Fishman Fluence open chord pickups, I believe they're called. I don't know. I never heard of that like one until I came across this model. And then yeah, this guy is tuned to double drop C, so it's an extra C and an extra G on top of drop C, so it's like C0, I think, naturally tuned. I don't do the whole pitch shifting thing, at least not yet. I just wanted to see how heavy I could take an 8-string basically and just roll with it, see how far I could go with it. And I figured like C sounded the most like, it's one of the most goated tunings of all time. Like you can't go drop C back in the day was the shit. So it just sounded the best in my ears, at least like, you know, at the time trying to figure out the sound. And then like drop A is also like another great one for like deathcore and stuff like that. Yeah, it's I've been having fun with this, but I don't think we're gonna hear it on record for a little while. At least, you know, I'm gonna get the next record done, and then we're gonna revisit the 8-string tunings and stuff and get back to that. But it will be exciting to hear this guy on the next one, whatever one I write. And then the other ones I won't really bother with. I got an acoustic Martin. It's got like electronics in it. So I've used it on one record on one of my other projects, Hellthorn. But that was it. That's all I've used it for so far. And then the other one is a 6-string from Agile. But I'm in the process of selling that right now. So, oh well. Want to get that one is also a baritone scale. And I want to make room to get a shorter scale 6-string, like even shorter than the Iceman. That's a standard. I want to get back into writing more Hellthorn stuff, like black metal type stuff. That's what I would like to do. So yeah, that's the guitars. I mean, I could go into a lot more stuff if you would like my recording setup and shit.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Do you use your own DAW and then do you do your own production, or how's it work?
Yeah, like I use Reaper still to this day. And I do, everything from recording to mixing and mastering on it. So basically how it's set up. So all my guitars are going into, right at my foot here is my Helix Stomp from line 6. All my guitar tones, all my bass tones, and then I even record with vocals. And then the microphone where the hell is my microphone? Somewhere.
Oh wait, right back after this word. I was like, we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
It's somewhere here. I don't know. Hiding over here? No. Anyway, basically the Helix is my audio interface plugged into my PC. And then as I'm writing and doing things, I'll do like effects and stuff. Like I do like excuse me. Just get the time-based effects and stuff like that. Like if I want to put like a little, this would be super cool if I like really distorted it and like do it for a little section there. I do all the editing and stuff as I go along. If I have to load up like a sample of something or something that I worked on pretty recently, I did like a quick little old school deathcore EP, and that's a big thing going on in the scene right now. Is everybody's kind of going back to like trying to sound like that MySpace deathcore era type stuff, like Psycho Frame and Tracheotomy and shit like that. So I did this like deathcore EP. Just wrote the instrumentals, and then somebody else was going to do the vocals, but that never happened. But like I would get like a sample, like Reaper has its own sampler and stuff like that, and I would go and find like samples of like a typewriter click, and I look for a sample of a dodgeball getting smacked so I could put it under the snare, and so every time it hits it would make that, it would like echo and reverb and stuff like that. I thought that was so cool. It's just all like it's kind of like as I'm writing, and then I'm just like, this would be cool if like this part happened, like what else do I need to add to this? What's going to make it sound more whatever. And so I do like those effects, and then I get to the mixing process, and again I'm always like just fiddling around and trying to like just evolve it further, and like trying to just get good at it. So yeah, do the mixing, and then the mastering is pretty simple, but like I got, as far as like VSTs, I've got several, like on top of the Helix, I've got like several amp modelers and stuff, like a couple of those. I have just the basic Reaper stuff. I'm still using like Easy Mix 2 a little bit, like some of those effects. Haven't upgraded to 3 yet. And then mastering is, I use Isotope Ozone to do the like most of the heavy lifting for the mastering. And then what is it? Submission Audio's Flatline for like as a limiter to like cap it all off, and then like just bunch of saturation on anything that I could put on. And it's just, I think that's basically it for the most part, unless I'm missing something. I don't think so.
It's I'll come to him later when he's dreaming.
So. Yeah, it'll happen. Damn, I forgot. I'm gonna wake my wife up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, the whole deal. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, I think people always accuse the deathcore of being like the simplistic ones. Is the breakdowns always like boom, 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 and then and it's. I don't deal with the drums because that's like the most simplistic thing you could do.
Yeah.
I always feel bad calling out Chelsea Grin because of it, but I think they were using an 8-string guitar too. And on the song American Dream, it was just an open string, the very top thread right there too. So
yeah, or even like After the Burial, like when they did Wolves Within, and they did And I remember the YouTube video of the one kid, like he took a stick and he put a guitar string over it and he played A Wolf Amongst Ravens on it, and it's just the one string, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god, you got to be kidding me.
So, but I guess is deathcore trying to diversify while still having breakdowns per se?
We've got different flavors nowadays, I would say, like the modern stuff like Lorna Shore and Signs of the Swarm, like those guys are gonna be the torchbearers from here on out. We already know that. But then, like, you know, we're in an era where we're missing our, you know, growing up and being in high school and listening to like the OG bands, and like not just deathcore, but like there's bands that are trying to replicate like the old school metalcore sound, like oh, of course, Dying Wish, like hometown heroes here. They're the guys that are doing they're the leaders in the modern or the revival metalcore sound right now. And there was stuff like that, and now people are like moving on to the old school deathcore sound, and like I'm all for it because I kind of miss it. Like I was growing up, like, you know, with LimeWire and stuff like that, and trying to find the next heavy thing. Like I was just like, I need more. Where do I find these new bands? And I'm digging through MySpace and I'm trying to find out like a band's top 8 and checking out their top 8 and going further and further and further and finding new bands and stuff. And that's like how I came across like Disfiguring the Goddess. Was like they would pop up, and then that page would lead to like even heavier shit, like Abominable Putridity, their first album when it came out. Like I was like, what in the God's name is this? And like, this is disgusting. I like it. Oh man, I'm a big Slam fan too. It's just like it just gets so ridiculous to a point, and I'm for it all the way through. So with that said, yeah, deathcore is it did get stale at a point for sure. I mean, everybody's always trying to hop on to the next trend, and you know, somewhat, but now we're at a point where it's just like, yeah, there's a lot of different flavors of deathcore that can be done and have been done and will be done. Yeah, and I'm again all for it. Like, go Lorna Shore, take this genre and fucking shoot for the stars. And you know, like the Psycho Frame doing the MySpace deathcore thing is so cool. Like that was the coolest shit. And like there's a ton of bands that just followed them, and they're like, we're gonna do this too. This is way too cool. And and again, like metal's going on the up and up, and it's just I'm always going to be excited for what is going to be the next thing. What's going to be the next over-the-top crazy thing? And just like, I'm going to run with it. I'm always going to be like chasing that for sure. And I'm happy with the state of metalcore and deathcore and just metal in general right now. Just, we got so many options. It's so good.
I guess in terms of Lorna Shore, so they also do like the little breakdowns. Should we call it a pig squeal? Just like those little guttural growls, we call
like
it.
Goblin guttural things. Yeah, everybody's doing vocal gymnastics as well too, trying to one up each other with that.
I guess, but the very first time I heard Lorna Shore, it was To the Hellfire, and when it got to like near the end right there with that blasting, and then like you just hear little Ramos in the background, he's like, yeah. It's like, what is this? It actually kind of freaked me out a little bit there too. So,
are we allowed to do that?
Although it's like, you know, it's bad when it ends up in your dreams there too. So
yeah. Oh, it was like that. Oh boy,
that was the deal. Yeah, but I guess would you call it like a blackened deathcore since it's got like the speed and the blast speed and that sort of stuff?
I would say so. Yeah, definitely.
Fair enough. But I guess I forgot to ask this earlier too, but I think you kind of mentioned about a good amount of influences in terms of just becoming Oct, for instance.
Yeah. There's a couple different answers for that. The bands, like the band that got me into metal, I would argue would be System of a Down. Like, again, saw that Chop Suey video. I wanted that Iceman so bad. That was the coolest fucking guitar. Yep, that exact pose. That's what got me into the music. And then I started getting into the more extreme stuff in high school. The band that got me to want to start to play guitar would probably be Chimera. I love Rob Arnold. That dude is just one of the coolest guitar players for sure, and down to earth, humble, chill. I follow his YouTube channel, and I even had like one of those what was it, the DVD class things that had like they would have the different guitar players like I think they had a Trey's guitarist on one of them. They had Matt Heafy on one, I think. Rob was one of those ones, and I got that DVD, and I was like learning like all the shit that he does. Like, I think that was when Resurrection came out, is when that DVD came out. So it was like everything up until that point, all of his scales and modes and shit like that. And I was just like, having that DVD and like that really just motivated me and got like established like how I want to write and how I want to, you know, present myself, that sort of thing. So yeah, the band that got me into metal, the band that got me playing guitar. As far as influences for sound wise, my favorite band of all time, in case you can't tell, is Born of Osiris. Yeah, they are definitely the bigger influence out of everybody. Then I would say Fallujah, my second favorite band. Just when I heard the Harvest Wombs for the first time, and I was like, this thing is dripping in atmosphere. Like, what the fuck? How does anybody do that? Who comes out like that? Who comes out with an album like that? Just comes up with atmospheric death metal. Like, that is the coolest shit ever. Let's see, who's another one? Wildharta, definitely in the top 5. Fall. That's all I gotta say. Like just they again, one of those bands that like pioneered a sound. Like, everybody's doing the Fall thing now, and yeah, it's just, they're unmatched for sure. So who's another one? Meshuggah, absolutely. Like, undeniably, no question about it. Yeah, Meshuggah is a big influence. Like, they're the godfathers of the 8-string guitar. Frederick Thorndal, he's just a fucking musical genius. Like, so good. Like, the whole band is so good. Tomas is he's not even human. He's a cyborg. There's nothing. How do you? I can't even like play Bleed on my guitar fully. Like, I can't just do it. Like, physically cannot do it. I'm just like, I don't have the endurance for it. And that's on guitar. That man is doing a tour, and he's playing that song every single fucking night on that tour. I don't understand how his calf muscles are like not like they haven't exploded or imploded, or some kind of like singularity effect is happening around his calves. Like, that man is a machine. Like, I could not. I wish, but no way. Oh God. And then I had another one. What was it? Oh, Within the Ruins. I think they're super underrated nowadays, super underappreciated nowadays, but they are absolutely one of the GOATs for sure, at least in my mind. Like, Joe is an amazing guitar player, like, and doing the whole, like, they're one of those pioneers. They were like spearheading the whole, like, the Nintendo sounding like guitar tone and like style and effects and stuff like that, and just like sounding like your music is being like 8-bit crushed basically, and like doing all these zany fucking guitar gymnastics and all that jazz. Like, and again, like, in my mind, there's nobody that sounds like them even today. And like, it's just, I don't know, again, underappreciated band for sure. So yeah, I would say that's a solid list of all my influences for sure.
Definitely a great list there too. I did say Meshuggah live, but you know, I think it said that I'd be more distracted with the lights. This light show they always kept doing right there too. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, man, I had to lose focus because I'm trying to focus on my timer right here, and I got something flashing out there, maybe flashing up close to my face. So
I might go into a seizure any second.
I was saying to my mom afterwards, like, thank God I don't have epilepsy. So there was a killer show nonetheless there too. So
No,
loud.
I bet.
It was loud, but they did do bleed. They did do bleed. So always got to do bleed. So yeah,
As one does.
that's for sure. So I was trying to remember Fallujah a little bit there too. I don't think I listened to it a whole lot. So
They just came out with their new album on Friday. It's amazing. You should definitely check it out. It's called Xenotaph, and it's 8 songs. It's definitely one of the best tech death records for sure.
yeah, sounds good. So is it just do you guys or do you have anyone else who kind of helps out with this little project you're doing? I don't know if it's someone doing bass or drums or anything.
Nope, it's all completely me for Becoming Ock. Although, yeah, I have like a couple other projects. I always have like 20 other projects in the background somewhere. I had, my black metal project, Hellthorn. I had a vocalist for that. He just went MIA on me, I guess. I don't know. We put out like an album and like 2 more EPs, and then I started writing new stuff and just disappeared. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. And then when that happened, then that I needed to fill that gap with another project. So I was like on vacation, and one of those days, like I was getting into around that time, I was listening to a lot of Fear Factory and Cybreed and a bunch of other like more extreme like industrial metal bands. And I was like, I want to write something like this. I'm gonna just put together something just for me. And I wrote it and recorded it, and I was like sitting on it for a couple days, and I was like, I should turn this into a thing. I'm going to go find a vocalist. So I posted it on Facebook, like there's like a vocal institute group or something like that. And I was like, hey, vocalists, I'm looking for one. Does anybody want to try this out? And this guy, Devin, hits me up, and he's like, I'm down to do this. Let's do this. Let's put it out and stuff. And we wrote a 6-song EP, and then we were like, okay, we need a name. And I was doing like all the research for it, and eventually we landed on the Novarg construct. And we I went to the same guy that did the Becoming Ock logo to do a logo for that, and then we found some art, and then we just kind of quietly put it out. And like Devin was like going through some employment stuff, and he was been a little bit busy, but I took it upon myself to kind of start writing more for it. And eventually he started reaching out. He's like, hey man, do you have anything for me that I could record over? I'm like, I'm working on it. I promise I'm doing it. So that's quietly in the background being worked on, and eventually something's going to come out with that. I'm thinking of kind of doing something a little different with it. Something more like Dimmu Borgir meets Mechana type thing with a little bit of the Doom soundtrack mixed in. I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas at the moment, but I'm writing, seeing what sticks for that.
That's pretty cool. So you definitely keep yourself busy. But as far as jump into the lyrics, I guess what other hobbies do you do outside of music?
Outside of it, I'm just overall a fucking nerd. So I play video games. I like catching up with tech stuff, like just in general. Like I built my own PC here, and like I do that sort of thing. I'm very into both like modern games. I have a friend group that we play Call of Duty like basically every weekend. We always like just try to get together, and like it's more about the hangout more than anything, but still it's fun to get together. Call of Duty. I'm a big, if you couldn't tell from the 2 latest lyric videos for me, I'm a big fighting game fan. I'm actually wearing a Street Fighter jersey right now. Yeah, big fighting game fan. Street Fighter is like one of my two favorite video game franchises. The other one being Metroid. Oh yeah, that's also my only tattoo is Samus, her emblem there. Yeah, so Street Fighter, Tekken. I've been playing a lot of the new Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which has like Capcom versus SNK 2 on there and some other ones on there. I've been to, I don't go to many tournaments, but oh my gosh, this is going to be a funny story actually. The last tournament I went to, I was getting all hyped and stuff like that. It was a Street Fighter 2 tournament. It was a Turbo Edition. And we go to this arcade, like me and my wife, we go to the arcade where the tournament's being held. And I walk in and, you know, I get signed in and everything, blah, blah, blah. I immediately, like, I turn around and I immediately recognize that Frankie from Amir is at the fucking cabinet and he's playing somebody right now. And I recognize him because he had the Shadowloo skull on the back of his neck. And that was like, and, you know, he's like bald and he's got the hat on and everything. I'm like, Elaine, we got to go outside for a second. Like, hold on. She's like, what? What's wrong? I'm like,
do my eyes deceive me?
Yeah, for fucking real. Like, that guy that's wearing all black at the cabinet right now. Yeah. Yeah, that's Frankie from Amir. And she's like, what? Like, yeah, that's like one of my favorite bands, like, and that's the front man for it. And she's like, are you gonna go talk to him? And I'm like, I guess I'm eventually gonna have to, you know, like. So we go back in and like I get like I just get a beer and just drink it real quick, and I go back outside and I'm about to smoke a cigarette, and Frankie comes out and he's smoking something. I don't even remember. I don't know if it was like weed or something. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he comes outside too, and he's like, you get ready for this tournament, man? And I'm like, I think as best as I could be. And then I just like awkwardly like, hey, I don't want to like sound like a weird creep or something. Are you Frankie from Amir? And he's like, yeah, man. I'm like, holy shit, no way. Like, and we were just kind of like hitting off. We were talking and like, you know, I've seen you guys live before a couple times, and like, you know, you always do a great job. Love the new record. And then we, like, the conversation gravitated towards like we were talking about MySpace, and he's like, oh, I was watching this documentary on like MySpace and stuff like that, and I kind of miss those days. And I'm like, yeah, man, I was thinking about that too. And then I was like, after the turn, if we don't ever like square up against each other after the tournament, would you mind like if we could just go a set? He's like, yeah, sure thing. So I got to, I think, quarterfinals in the tournament, so not bad. And he was semifinal, something like that. So he was like one step above me. And so the tournament gets done and everything, and you know, and Frankie's like, all right, man, you ready to go? And I'm like, all right, here we go. So, and then I play him like first 3 matches, and he whoops my fucking ass. Like, he just, that man, I main Ken in Street Fighter, and his main is Bison. And Bison is a very, like, if you can maneuver him, he is absolutely fucking dangerous. And by God, yeah, he knew exactly what to do, and he just obliterated me. And then we took a selfie together. So yeah, that was fun. So yes, back to hobbies. Video games. My wife and I, even though we're like more introverted, we do still like to go out when we can, like go out on a date and stuff like that. Actually, this coming weekend, we are going to a Pokemon card festival, and the following Sunday, we're going to our first Renaissance fair. Yeah, that's going to be, I'm kind of excited for that. That'll be good. I'm going as a Viking, and she's going as like a sea maiden mermaid thing. The whole thing is like mermaid themed this weekend, I guess. She's very much into mermaids. But by the way, her favorite movie of all time is The Little Mermaid, and she's like, she has red hair like Ariel. Like she does that on purpose.
That's why you know it's more than just a hobby now.
Exactly. And I don't know. And then I also recently, like, I just felt like I was kind of out of shape, or maybe not out of shape, but I feel like I was a wimpy man. So I decided to start working out again. And that's kind of like a once or twice a week type of thing. Like that's the most recent thing that I'm doing. Yeah, Pokemon. That's a big hobby. I got a shit ton of cards. I play the video games. Charizard's my favorite Pokemon still. I know, fucking Gen 1 boomer over here. I get it, but like he's my ride or die. That was literally the first one, like for me. Like, of course, I'm gonna do that. I even have a little Charizard, Mega Charizard, like stuff thing that my wife got me.
Plushie.
Yeah. Just chilling on the desk, and then there's a Charmander there too, and a King Boo from Mario.
So, man, you got it all there.
And on top of my amp over here, I have a Pikachu and a Mega Charizard pajama set thing. So I've got a shit ton of stuff all over my desk. I'm doing a really good job hiding it right now.
I guess so. We can't give anything away. So
not completely, at least.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you mentioned about your shirt right there, because I was looking at it and I was thinking, is that more soccer? Because I was thinking like Barcelona or some godforsaken English team out of the UK.
Yeah, nope, not quite.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, I did what was it? Not Marvel vs. It was Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah, it was Marvel vs. Capcom 3 back in the day. So
yeah.
I cannot do anything on expert. I would tell you that much. I'm sorry. I just stick to normal. It's just best to make games fun, not stressful.
Yeah, you play games to have fun, not be stressed.
Actually, I'm already stressed with doing Dark Souls, Bloodborne, those sorts of games, and I'm getting ready to do Elden Ring. So yeah, I'm going to be stressed. So yeah, I'm going to be tense and stressed. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I can see why. But going to lyrics real quick. I guess, do you still delve into the Egyptian mythology, or are you still trying to like tell some sort of story behind it?
Yeah. All the lyrics, yeah, it's all derived from some sort of source in Egyptian mythology. Everything except for the very first EP and the early demos has always been a concept album. So the second EP with the 7 parts of the human soul, and like those were broken down by song. Sumerian Prophecy was like, that was the first. It was more influenced than like directly taken from like the stories and the folklore themselves. That was just a story that I wrote myself. Like I just sat down and I was like, I've got to write a story to this. Like, and that album in particular was hard because that was like, I wanted to do something like Meshuggah's Catch 33, where like it's one long track and split apart. And yeah, that was a challenge. Why did I do that to myself? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And then after that was the Abolisher EP, and that was like the prequel to the follow-up album, Absolute Truth. So both those albums are like talking about the rise, or like the fall, then the rise, then the fall again of Pharaoh Akhenaten, who he, in Egyptian mythology, he was the one that established monotheism, as in like the belief of one god instead of multiple gods. So I kind of like took that concept and spun it on its head, and it's like he's going to be the god, and like everybody's going to worship him instead, and he's going to kill all the other gods and stuff like that.
So Kratos.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Egyptian Kratos.
Actually, they are doing something along those lines, but sorry, continue.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's those, and then Oh my gosh, I forgot it again. Apophis Solution, yes. The Apophis Solution was my wife and I were watching this one show on Hulu, and now I can't remember that show. But it had the guy that played Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul. He was like the main character in the show, and it was centered around like he's in this cult, and he was like he's learning the truths about the cult, and he's like trying to get out of it and stuff like that. And I was like, then I wanted to do more research into like famous cults and like Jonestown and shit like that. And then I wanted to write something like a story about a cult, and like the cult is centered around the deity Apophis, who is like a harbinger of chaos and destruction in Egyptian mythology. And it was like I was trying to tell the perspective of like the head of the cult, and then a recent like member or recently joining member, and then the last part is like just how Apophis rises and destroys the world and stuff like that. And then with Afterlife, or wait, going back one more, Plague Sessions. So that one, that was like the quick COVID EP basically. And I just wanted to do, looked up different stories and the mythology, like different tales and stuff like that. And it was, as I was writing lyrics about each of these songs, I was trying to like, my wife threw this idea of like, you should have like a theme of like isolation, kind of, like, because that's what the world is feeling like right now. So I was trying to get like the right stories and like get a common theme. It's not like a concept in the way it's like telling a story, but it's just the overall theme of the lyrics is like this isolation and like you're away from everybody else. You're that sort of stuff. And now on up to the current timeline with Afterlife, that whole album was written with going over the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Like my wife and my mom and I, we went to this museum exhibit, and they were showing relics and stuff centered around Queen Nefertiti, and like it was so cool. Like it was like just I was geeking out the whole fucking time. Like just like, oh my gosh, look at this, it's a sarcophagus, and this is what she actually looked like, and reconstructed and shit like that. Did all that sort of stuff, and a lot of the stuff was like heavily themed around like their belief of, or their beliefs derived from the Book of the Dead and stuff like that. And then they also had like a hard copy like book of the Book of the Dead that I absolutely had to grab on my way out. And then I read most of it, and then I was like, I need to write an album just about the Book of the Dead. This is the most metal shit that I could possibly like write about. And so I began, the writing process. I was getting all the instrumentals done, and then I wanted to get into the lyrics, and I was like picking out certain chapters and stuff like that. And then it came to a point where I wanted to start interjecting some of my own like personal stuff into my music and my lyrics. So the first like official single from the album, Debts of the Fathers, that was a song written from a time where I was just pissed off at my dad and my brother at the time. I won't go into details, but and I wasn't even like, it wasn't even so much that like, it was more me putting myself in that space versus like, I wasn't writing it while I was mad at them. It was just like, trying to be in that state of mind, like, and then trying to apply certain themes to that and put it all together and make it work and put it in the concept and make that happen. So it was a lot of the Book of the Dead, and then also like the Moon Knight TV show came out on Disney Plus, and that helped out a little bit too. So like, all right, I'm getting all my sources. This is all working. Every album for now and for the foreseeable future for Ock is pretty much going to be a concept album every time, I think. And it's just, I was thinking about it on the way, coming back home to do this interview, and I was like, I'm pretty much putting together my own Egyptian cinematic universe. This is awesome.
Now we can rival Nile and all those guys. So,
hell yeah.
That's for sure. Actually, it's funny you mentioned Book of the Dead right there too, because first I was thinking like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead, and then there's all the chapters that Carl and Nile put together. I could do the latest one because that's a little bit of a mouthful to say the least. So, but chapter for transforming into a snake. There we go. So
and stop it right there.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. So that's pretty cool. It's always funny with some of the mythological stories, because you hear about Zeus. He castrates Kronos, and apparently after throwing his thingamajig into the water, that's how Aphrodite comes about. So, or even in Egyptian side, there's one where Set's, I think, making out with Horus. He's like making out with Horus or something right there too. And just before Horus finishes, he's like, "Nope, gotta stop. Hold. I'm not gonna let that happen." And then he lets it loose on a ball and just throws it into the Nile. That's how the crocodiles came about. So
crazy shit.
It is, but you gotta love them there too. So it makes for interesting metal stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just real quick before we jump into the fun questions afterwards, what do you make of AI and social media these days? You think it's a little too much, or you think it's got its uses?
I think it depends on what you're applying it to. Like, I think it was like late last year, earlier this year. I remember like somebody was like uploading these AI songs to every metal band's like Spotify playlist. So like it would come up on your like what's new releases and stuff, and like you're just spammed with like a shit ton of these crappy ass songs. And like, oh, it's a new release from Born of Osiris. Oh, it's a new release from After the Burial, Veil of Maya, whoever. Like everybody in their mom's band was like, they had an AI song all of a sudden.
Yay!
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, no way, they got a new thing. Oh, this is disappointing. Fuck. So as far as making music, I think the best context I can think of for that is like, if you're using AI to make music, where's the art? Like you could do like MIDI samples and shit like that. Like that's completely different. Like, and it's another thing to have a machine write and record and put together a song for you. That's just gets rid of the whole point, basically. Same with art. Like, you do it for fun, I guess. Like, just make a Studio Ghibli Looney Tune mashup thing. Like, just do it for your own personal gratification. But don't, like, again, make art and then try to pass it off as your own, like you made it. You're, again, taking the art and the soul out of it. Like, it's really, like, there's no point, like, doing it that way. Aside from that, like, I think it's a great tool to use, but nothing to, like, lean on too heavily, like, use it to assist you, not to be your, like your voice, or use it for, like, your brain, or, like, don't have it be that role. Just have it assist you. I think that's the best way to use AI, in my opinion.
In terms of music, yeah. I have seen some uses outside of the music in terms of, like, one was able to detect breast cancer a lot sooner than probably a typical monogram would actually pick up.
Yeah.
So, or this one does kind of delve into music, but I think there was one kid who was disabled, not able to function properly with the motor skills, and it's helped him create music. So, It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So I see. All right. And just real quick, what social media are you on so I can check you out and listen to your music?
Social media, I'm on, Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, YouTube. Just type in "becoming Ock" in the search bar. That's all you got to really do, because fortunately for me, that's a unique enough name that like you're more than likely going to, if you type that in, you're more than likely going to go to the right page for me.
All right, fair enough. And just real quick, what are your plans for this year? Gonna do a new concept album? Gonna maybe try to do a show or something? Find some recruits or something?
The plan this year, as far as music goes, like I mentioned earlier, I've begun writing the follow-up. The follow-up is gonna be different. It's basically like, it's going to be like a little side quest, basically, in my musical journey here. It's going to be a concept album, but it's not going to be based on like Egyptian folklore. Fuck it. You know what? You're going to get the exclusive. I'm going to tell you right now. The concept, I'm going to be, like I said, I'm a total fucking nerd. The concept is going to be based on Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be based on the 3 Egyptian god cards. And I'm going to just write, like, I have an idea of what I want to do in the long term, but it's, yeah, like an intro, and the sound itself. I don't want to say that I'm going to be the guy that makes this happen, but with the whole MySpace deathcore revival scene going on, it made me think, like, I really miss, like, everyone's talking like 06, 07, when deathcore was starting and it was blowing up on MySpace. My favorite era was like 09 or 2010, like when Sumerian core was starting to take over, like the Faceless, After the Burial, Born of Osiris, Veil of Maya, all those bands that were like crazy technical and like just blowing people's minds like right out of the bat. So my idea is, with the Yu-Gi-Oh concept, I want to go back to the sound of like the Sumerian core bands from that era, and I want to just like do this for fun, and I want to see where I take this. And just like I don't know what I'm gonna write about the gods. I'm gonna have to like rewatch that whole Battle City season and like I don't know, and dig out my old cards somewhere around here, I think.
I was a big fan of that too, and I was just obsessed with trying to get them. And boy, they were like, it was like hundreds of dollars just to get the one freaking card, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and yeah, that's what I want to. That is the plan right now. Subject to change. I don't know when exactly it'll come out. I'm not even done writing it. I barely started. And then I have to get like art and stuff like that. And I have a guy that I go to for the artwork and stuff like that I trust, and he'll be able to hopefully do what I have in mind. Devoured Designs, by the way, if you need artwork, he's great, dude. Andrew's great. Yeah, that's the future right now. And then also might at least have some new Novard construct stuff. I can do that eventually. I don't know when. Just slowly working with Devin on that one. Yeah, as far as music goes, that's what I got in the books. I'm also like open for mixing and mastering stuff if anybody wants to work with me on that or whatever. Yeah, but that's as far as it goes.
All right, sounds good. So good luck this year, mate.
Thank you.
So, all right. So we brings through most of the questions here. Now we're down to some extra fun ones here. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
All right. So I am curious if there's a particular dish I haven't heard about yet. That's kind of things I like doing about these interviews here too. But so even though there's a little bit of a script to it, I think it's always good to at least see everyone's different opinions on it. But to kick it off right here, What would you say is currently your favorite food?
Favorite food would be fettuccine alfredo for sure. Just classic, cheesy goodness. Just so good. Just warms my heart, especially when my mom makes it. Like, that's the best one. Of course, mom's cooking is the best. Yeah, fettuccine alfredo for sure. Yeah. Although, I'll throw in, like, my favorite dish that I've made. I've made ramen carbonara. Like, literally, it's carbonara, but it's ramen noodles. Like, that. I did that. I looked up the recipe for it, and I was like, this is actually really good.
Actually, it does sound good, but I don't know about ramen noodles. So, but I guess it's meant to be a specific Italian pasta that just mixes in with it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, great choice. For the next one right here, I know we talked a good bit about cartoons earlier, so I guess also some shows along the way. But what would you say is your favorite movie, and then what's your favorite TV series?
My favorite TV series for sure is Archer. That is the foundation of my sense of humor right now. Like, that whole show is brilliant, start to finish. Favorite movie? Man, that's a tough one. I've seen every MCU movie up to date. Star Wars, just big fan of. Favorite movie? So tough. I don't know. I think just because it is the movie that, like, my wife likes to watch with me when she wants to watch a Star Wars movie, is probably Episode 3. So that's probably the one.
We got a prequel lover. He was well, you were one of those guys who grew up in that age, so fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I feel bad because I gave up on Archer after like one season, to be honest. It looks like they went like, what, 7 or 8?
Somewhere around there. The series is ended now, so like you don't have to catch up on anything really. But yeah, if you give it another chance, please do it. I swear, like, it is the best show, hands down. I even have like a book like based on the art of the show. I thought that was super cool. But yeah, like, Archer just shaped my sense of humor for sure. Like, it's so good.
I should have said book. I thought that's what you were pushing in right there. So
no, that was just my monitor was bugging me over here.
Okay, fair enough. All right, got all great choices there. So, what would you say is your favorite alcoholic drink, and then what's your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Favorite non-alcoholic that I've been sipping on all day is Coke Zero. Well, I drink Coca-Cola products in general, but I drink Coke Zero because I'm actually a type 1 diabetic, and so like I sugar-free and carb-free. I don't have to worry about that. And then alcoholic drink, as far as like, I do like, as far as beer, I like Ninkasi. That's like my favorite brand over here in Eugene, actually. And then a mixed drink for bonus points would be the gonna be a nerd again. I have the Destiny cookbook, Destiny from Bungie, and they have a recipe for a drink called the Ace of Spades, and it's like basically lemon, lime, liqueur, and just like that sort of kind of drink. And it turns out like in this green like shot thing, and it's really good. And like, yeah, I think that's my favorite like liquor. Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. So, all right, good choice. All right, I think the problem with the last question here is I think you kind of answered it earlier with like your top 3 favorite bands you consider your favorite of all time. But if you have a favorite song, feel free to share. Otherwise, list your top 5 bands this time you would consider your personal favorites.
Favorite song of all time. I don't think I could say all time because it's just I always get like a new favorite song. Like I mentioned the new Orbit Culture single that's been on repeat, but the week before that was the latest single from President, and I was playing that on repeat all fucking week. And it's always every week there's something that comes out, and I'm like obsessed with that song for fucking ever. So right now I would say the new Orbit Culture single is my favorite right now, but that's subject to change, of course. And then I think I mentioned like the influences or like my favorite bands. So yeah, again, Meshuggah and Born of Osiris, Fallujah, Viltarta, Within the Ruins. I'll throw in a couple more. Gojira. Who else am I missing here? After the Burial and Veil of Maya. Pretty standard fare there, that sort of stuff. Anything that has like just groove, I fuck with it. It's just how I can best summarize it up, I guess.
It's actually funny you mentioned Gojira because that was actually the first concert I went to after they started lifting restrictions in my neck of the woods.
Oh, so. Really? Yeah, that was actually my last show that I went to before COVID hit was Slipknot, and they had Gojira with them. And yeah, that was so good. Jesus Christ.
I was like, they're better than the headliner. So, yeah.
Almost.
Well, they were doing it with Deftones too, and then there was an opening band called Vows, which I respect them, but not really my cup of tea. So
fair enough.
Give them credit.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, Chris, we're down to one more question on my podcast, but before we jump into it, would you like to ask me anything or say any final words?
I usually have a smart ass question for these third things, but nothing's coming to mind.
Don't expect a smart ass answer though. So yeah.
Fair enough. Let's just be random. Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Well, I was never really very big as a Pokemon. If anything, I just watched.
Wait, hold on. No, I'll retract that. Hold on. Who was your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character in the anime?
You know, it's funny when you look back, you like hear some of the voices. That's the English dub version. It's like I watched that as a kid. So you know, Joey had stones. I'll give him that too. He did take some beating.
Yeah.
So Kaiba was a love-hate relationship, to be honest, because you loved him because he was that person that fucked around, to be honest. So
yeah.
And plus, it's like if you fuck with me, I'm gonna make sure you regret it. That's their deal.
Yeah.
So, but I've always did love Kaiba's deck, the Blue Eyes. I kind of had a fan. I collected a bunch of cards. I have like 3 different Blue Eyes that I collected.
Oh, it's down here. Hold on.
You got one?
I have a Blue Eyes deck. Actually, yeah. The Azure Eyes Silver Dragon deck. Yeah.
Oh, I got that one too. Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah. I was like, wait, this is chilling right here. I just totally forgot about that.
Actually, the deck I really went for afterwards was more Crystal Beast.
Oh.
That would turn out to be a personal fave. I don't know why. I just had something about rainbows afterwards. Just the way the design was, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one, though.
I didn't really care for Jesse and the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but I loved the deck I saw, yeah.
Yeah.
So I gave it to Joey, but a little bit of Kaiba, too, whenever he's not being a total dick.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Nope. I'm ready for the final question.
All right. But next time, let's see if we can show off our Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards whenever we get a chance. So,
hell yeah.
All right.
All for it.
All right. But here's how the last question goes. So I used to frame it around COVID way back in the day because that seemed to be the thing that was going on whenever this podcast was really taking off. But given the amount of negativity you see in the world, I don't know how much you watch the news and all that stuff. I think people, maybe too much, but yeah. It seems people need some sort of hope, but I think at the same time we got to do a little preaching that sort of way, if you know what I mean. But what would be your message of hope to people out there, as well as musicians, so they can move forward with their lives?
There is one mantra that I live by to this day, and if you buy anything off of the Bandcamp, I always post it in like the message telling you that I got your order and stuff like that. Stay posse, as in positive. That is, again, the mantra. Like, always just keep smiling, keep going forward, just do you, be happy. Like, don't let somebody get you down. Don't just keep on doing you, and everything's gonna fall into place. I'm happy where I'm at because I keep such a positive mindset for the most part and try to present myself that way, and I think that really does make a change.
Short, sweet, to the point, and spoke like a true prodigy.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for sharing that, Chris. It does really mean a lot.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
No worries. But we appreciate my podcast right here. I guess would you like to give it any shout outs to anybody or any other final words?
Just shout out to the Brutality podcast. Check them out if you haven't. They're hosted by Dom and Yan, and they are two of the coolest dudes, and wish them the best and the whole Discord community there. Shout out to the Portland scene. We've got bands like Bystander and Dying Wish and Vitriol, like all these great, amazing bands, and I am so excited to see what's coming next. And just shout out to my wife and my dog, my parents, my brother, all my family. Like, I love them all to death, and I'm glad I have them in my life. Yeah.
All right. Wasn't there another band out of Oregon? I think one of the songs was "When Will God's Work Be Done."
Oh, I'd have to look that up. There's a lot of bands there, but those are like the top 3 off the top of my head, like of the big ones.
All right. Nonetheless, we'll give a shout out to those guys as well, though, too.
Yes.
So,
whoever you are, they deserve it.
Yeah. At least I thought they were from Oregon. I could be wrong, but we'll see. But just one last thing, just for the audience's sake, can you just list what social media and streaming platforms you're on so they can check out and show some support?
Yes, Becoming Ock. You can find me on, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, under Spin Cycle Productions. Spin Cycle Productions is like the hub of all my work. So if you find a Becoming Ock video or something under that, it's right. I'm on Bandcamp, of course, again, under Spin Cycle Productions, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if you want to. Just look up Becoming Ock. Like, just type it in your search bar, and most likely it's going to come up. And I try to be relatively easy to find. And then also my merch store, becomingockstore.com, if you want to grab merch there. And then I also have CDs for sale on the Bandcamp. That's pretty much it.
All right, sounds good. And to close out like this, everyone, my guest today was Chris, aka Becoming Ock. So he's part of his own little group right there, out there in Oregon, Portland, Oregon. He's representing Portland, Oregon. So make sure you hit all socials, all streaming platforms. This guy's getting some major ass right there, so keep your eyes open for also some new material he's got coming out this year, both for Becoming Oct and whatever other projects he's got in mind here too. So, Chris, thank you again so much for coming on here, mate. So you do stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
Rock on.
Yeah, rock on, man.
Hey, real quick, I did a pose. Stay tuned, y'all.